Yo, I'm on my grind. What is going on, everybody? GZTV back with another one. We are here with one of the first fresh releases I've reviewed on the channel, probably since the Minecraft movie. We are here to talk the 2025 American supernatural horror film directed by Michael Chaves and written by Ian Goldberg, Richard Nang, and David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick. We have the Conjuring Last Rites. Apparently, this is going to be the final one. I don't know. There's a Smurl haunting case that actually happened. This is also based on a true story. I don't know why they advertised their last two movies as that all of a sudden, but they did. Here we go, The Conjuring Last Rites. Supposedly, again, the final movie, it's supposed to be like they kind of set it up as that because they have like this happily ever after arc they went for. But one of the biggest horror franchises of all time, obviously. I was genuinely hyped for this too going into it. There's something special about catching a new Conjuring film and just a new film in theaters in general because it's been months since I've done that, especially one that's being billed as the finale. At the same time, I'm glad they aren't milking this thing to death. Hopefully this really is the end and they let it go out on a high note. I don't know. It's bittersweet. The series has been part of horror history for over a decade now, and seeing it close the book on Ed and Lorraine Warren one last time feels right here, I'd say. I didn't really need a Nun 2 continuation, so it's nice that this connects more to The Devil Made Me Do It, particularly in how it focuses on the Warrens' relationship and their family dynamic. The opening scene was fine. Again, we'll get into a bunch of stuff here in a second. The people playing young Ed and Lorraine didn't fully sell it, and the flashback sequence dragged a bit before the movie got to the present day, but still. I like the introduction of the mirror as a symbol. It threads everything together nicely, but it took a while to kind of get going. There's good and bad, okay? Obviously, that's how these videos go, so let's keep it moving. Alright, so getting into the premise is generally what happens. After a family discovers a cursed mirror that begins to torment them, Ed and Lorraine Warren are called in to investigate one last time. This is their one last trip. They're very hesitant to do it at first because, well, they've been retired. A hiatus, they look at it, they want to write books, they want to inform people rather than getting involved firsthand, maybe let someone else carry the torch for a while. And for a while, it seemed like that would have been Judy, but I guess she kind of did in this movie. As the hauntings intensify, their daughter Judy again becomes drawn into the evil tied to the mirror, has very big implications with her birth, which is cool. And the Warrens are forced to face one of the most personal and dangerous cases yet. And I liked that this one brought the focus back to Ed and Lorraine. It's always been their story, and this was a great way to close it out. But this time, it's kind of more family-oriented with Judy kind of stepping into the spotlight, which is really cool. The theme of faith is massive here, as always, but this time it's tied heavily to unity and kind of the family's bond, and that's a pretty beautiful thing to like end this franchise in that way if they're planning on doing that. Apparently this might actually be like phase one. They're gonna keep going, which I hope not. I think that's really dumb. It's not the MCU, come on now. The mirror itself is a great concept and makes for a cool symbolic device for reflection, literally, and fear, even if it's not as prevalent as I expected early on. You also get the sense that this is the final, not just another case, but the Warrens' last major encounter with true evil. It doesn't hit quite as hard as I thought it would, but it definitely has that end of the road feeling like, sure, we shouldn't need any more movies from here on out, even though it is fucking Hollywood. They're probably gonna ruin it. Father Gordon's death was tragic. Spoilers, by the way. Jesus Christ, I should have prefaced that if I spoiled that for you. It's been out for over a month, but still, if I spoiled that for you, my bad. Judy's near death was intense. There's gonna be spoilers in this video, and the emotional side of the story worked well. The little bits with Judy's boyfriend and the hint at her growing up were interesting, though maybe a bit rushed. Again, we'll get into all that here in a second. Let's go. So getting into the good, just getting into the performances, I think Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, as usual, are fantastic. It's gonna be a pretty balanced review. I think there's a lot of good, bad, and okay things, so just bear with me on this. Obviously, Patrick and Vera have been carrying this franchise from day one, and they still have that believable chemistry that keeps you invested. It's been 4 years since the last movie dropped, and that chemistry's never faltered. I think they work really well together. Mia Tomlinson, who plays Judy, is also a standout. I had never seen her in anything before this, but she's pretty good. I think she's great. Gorgeous actress. She brings a lot of emotional maturity to the role, so shout out to Mia Tomlinson. My introduction to her, I guess. Cinematography and lighting are some of the best in the series, I would say. Like, I know I'm not making a big deal out of it. I know I'm not super, like, emphatic about it, but it's some of the best I have seen in this entire universe. It's very modern, just in terms of the quality of it. The movie has a darker, more psychological look to it, especially during the mirror scenes. I think more than ever, these hauntings in the past of the Warrens is really starting to get into not only Lorraine's head, maybe a little bit of Ed's, but especially Judy's, and I think that is a really cool concept that they kind of go for here more than any of the other films. You get these like dim, distorted shots, and that kind of gives the movie like a really great eerie aesthetic, and it's much more prevalent in this film than any of the others. The mirror concept might not be brand new in the world of horror, but it's still effective. Kind of gives you like Oculus vibes. I reviewed that film, by the way, and I'm cool with that. I like that movie. I think this movie did some of the same things. The theater experience helped too. Again, the unique thing about this review is that we went to the theaters for this one. The sound design really hit in moments of pure intensity, and man, I gotta go to the theaters more. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, especially for horror movies, especially for movies that are intense and rely on those extra things. It's great. The jump scares were fine, but just getting into the real horror, I think it came from the violent, gory stuff. I think more than ever, just the fucked up, like, twisted stuff is what scared me the most. Father Gordon's death, the sister puking blood, that was disgusting. That was one of the gnarliest scenes I've ever seen in this franchise. Judy's hanging sequence and the fiance's leg being sliced, those were genuinely disturbing moments, and those were great. The blood looked a little like Kool-Aid, I will say, but hey, it's spooky season. I think it worked out. It was kind of cheeky, it was kind of cheesy. I think it was fine. The emotional weight of the film as well was handled pretty well. It's about faith, family, and sacrifice, and that tone fits perfectly for a finale. I think they went in the right direction with that. It might not reinvent anything. Sure, most finales do that. It's kind of a given, but it closes out the Warren story with heart, and again, I really enjoyed that, so let's move on. I'm not gonna lie, there's a decent amount of bad in here, but let's just rip the band-aid off because this is in no way a great movie to me. I think the worst part of this movie is the pacing. I think it is really bad. The family getting haunted before the Warrens even show up takes forever, and honestly, I think the whole decision of that is really stupid. I did not like that. That whole setup drags on, and I didn't really have a good concept for time because I wasn't like pausing it and checking how long the movie's left. I know, very ADHD of me, I usually do that, but I would say it took like an hour, maybe even an hour 15, hour and a half. It took an hour 15 into the movie for the Warrens to like catch wind of this and Judy to like figure out where Father Gordon died and see this family, for them to be like, oh, okay, we need to help. And it took very little convincing from Judy, by the way, which I also thought was kind of weird considering they wanted to retire and considering all the shit they've been through. You can tell the movie's trying to fill a 2-hour runtime when it really doesn't need to. Again, normally these films are like an hour and a half to an hour 45. I wish they would just keep it that way, but it's fine. The more the merrier, I guess, for a finale. The mirror idea, also, I like the idea, but I think it's just not as present as it should be early on. Annabelle and that crawling doll, whatever, actually have more screen time in the first half, which makes the mirror feel like an afterthought until the third act. It's awesome when Judy and Annabelle finally share a scene, and it's awesome that Annabelle's even involved in this film in the first place. That crossover works and it's amazing, but it also steals focus from the main curse, the main relic that's going to be put in the artifact room eventually, inevitably, the mirror. And just getting into the fiance, his character's fine. Like, his inclusion's fine, like, it's whatever. Judy's growing up, you gotta kind of give her something, but very awkward character. And I understand, like, you're meeting her parents for the first time, you're trying to build this bond throughout the movie. I think it's great how they go through struggle, and that makes it that much easier for him. I don't know, like, the whole dating Judy for 6 months and never meeting her parents thing is pretty fucking ridiculous. Like, that is insane dating culture, especially for, like, how close Judy is to her parents. And I know they were busy back in their heyday with these cases, but it made no sense. The proposal scene, pretty painful to watch. Like, I damn near just turned my face from the screen. Even if that's how it happened in real life, they could have presented it better. I don't know. That's kind of that. Getting into Judy's possession, I think it was a good idea. I think it was needed in this film. The whole we wanted her all along twist tied into the mirror's curse, that's a pretty smart move to go for, but the execution didn't land. Mia's performance during that scene didn't quite sell the terror, and the effects looked more goofy than frightening. Like, the makeup was pretty dog shit in this movie in general. And I do think the ending was a bit too clean. I'm fine with it, but I would say it's more on the bad than anything else. They beat the evil fast, and it has that "we did it, guys" like energy. Play the Tatum clip.
We did it. We did it!
It feels a little NPC-ish. I don't know if it's just me. Like, it's fine, but it's not the grand send-off I was hoping for. I wanted everything to kind of crumble down to the end and something crazy to happen. I don't know. Still, the way it honors the real Warrens' lives keeps it grounded, so that's cool. Getting to the mix, there's really not much to say here. The score was decent. I will say, just like overall the sound design, again, the theater kind of enhances your experience with that a little bit. Nothing iconic, but it works to an extent. The film's style is pretty nice. I could have debatably put that in the good. That was one of the better parts of the film as well. It feels like an old school horror movie again, with that same tone, kind of like Annabelle 2014 nailed early in the franchise. And crazy enough, that's one of the only things I actually gave Annabelle 2014 credit for. And by the way, these videos are going to be a little shorter because I'm very much concise with my thoughts. I just got out of the theater literally a couple of hours ago, so pretty fresh in my mind. The camera work, wallpapered sets, analog tech, all that great classic horror feel. It feels like an old film, and it's really cool that this was actually made in 2025 this year, and they still were able to pull that off quite well. Seeing this in theaters, again, just kind of referencing that, definitely elevated the experience. I don't think this movie would be as good had I not seen it in the theaters. The presentation, scale, and sound really added something something. It's not the scariest movie in the series, but that's okay. For a finale, emotion takes center stage. I think that's definitely the right call. Again, just kind of referencing that. You still get a few of those cliche moments, I will say. I'm pretty mixed. It doesn't really hinder the movie, like the don't believe the kids trope, the waiting too long adults, waiting until it actually affects you to fucking contact someone about some paranormal shit. But the movie doesn't overdo that. I think very quickly it gets eliminated. Once the Warrens come in, I think a lot of those tropes get thrown out the window, which is great. Yeah, they move past us quickly enough, doesn't become annoying, and I think that's about all I have to say. So getting into my review, again, not too much to say here. Pull up the tier list. It's time, baby. The Conjuring Last Rites, I think it's a fitting conclusion. It may be a little uneven in certain spots, but I still think it is fitting. I still think they appropriately approached this. It's one of the greatest horror franchises of the modern era. It might not be like actually the best, but like in terms of greatness, in terms of success and all the films and how long they were able to keep this going, that deserves some flowers. The performances are strong, the visuals are great, and the emotional core feels genuine. It's not the scariest Conjuring film, which out of Conjuring films you really want that, but it doesn't need to be. It's about closure, both for the characters and for the audience, and I do think to an extent we get that. Now, could it be a little better? Sure, it drags in places. Some of the scares are goofy. The mirror theme could have been used better. A lot of things could have probably been executed and used better, but as a conclusion, it's great. It's literally reflective. Emotional, and ties things together without overcomplicating the lore. I'm just gonna go ahead and give this probably like a 7.3, 7.4, something like that, whatever. Like, I think this is one of the weaker films we've probably seen since La Llorona, which sucks. I liked The Devil Made Me Do It probably better than this one, but this movie's fine. It's satisfying enough. It does whatever. It's decent. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know this is a pretty fresh movie. It came out like a month and a half ago, so love to hear your guys' thoughts. Hopefully I don't keep getting copyright so my videos can actually get views. It's fine. I'm kind of just doing these as think pieces at this damn point. Follow the socials, do whatever. After this, I have some pretty dope plans. Weapons, I don't know if you guys remember that, an iconic, like, cool, classic horror film that dropped earlier this year. That is coming to HBO Max, I think Friday, so we're gonna watch that. I think we're gonna watch The Substance as well. I know you guys have probably heard of that. That's probably about gonna finish the month of horror, though. It's been a great ride. I'm out.